So, when I say the word physiotherapy, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Probably an athlete getting back on the field, right? Or maybe someone learning to walk again after a serious accident. And yeah, you're not wrong, but that's just a tiny, tiny piece of the puzzle. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the surprisingly huge, scientific, and honestly powerful world of physiotherapy.
You know, it so often starts with a really simple human problem. For this person, it wasn't some dramatic injury. It was the fear of losing something they absolutely loved, cooking. Something as basic as taking notes had caused so much pain in their hands and wrists that chopping a single clove of garlic was just excruciating. And it's in these everyday battles that you really see where the power of this field shines.
All right, so let's just tackle that common idea head on. If you've mentally filed physiotherapy under a folder labeled for athletes only or after surgery, you're about to see just how much bigger and more relevant to all of us the picture really is.
Yeah, because it's about so much more than just patching you up after an injury. It's about restoring the very way we interact with the world around us, our movement. At its core, it's a fundamental science dedicated to improving physical function, and that's exactly where we're going to start.
At its absolute heart, physiotherapy is a science. It's a systematic way of looking at and treating pretty much anything that gets in the way of your body's ability to function physically. So it's not just about fixing what's broken. It's about understanding and improving all the complex systems that let you move, work, and just live your life.
And believe it or not, this science isn't some newfangled thing. To really appreciate how wide its reach is today, we've got to take a quick trip back in time to see how it grew from ancient ideas into a total cornerstone of modern medicine.
The basic ideas, they're ancient. We're talking way back in 460 AD, Hippocrates himself was talking about massage and manual therapy. Then you fast forward to 1894 when a group of 4 nurses in Great Britain create the very first professional society. But here's where things get really interesting, the 20th century. Major global events, like the World Wars and the terrifying polio outbreaks, acted as these massive, unexpected catalysts that forced the field to advance and fast. It all led to 1951 when a global body was finally formed to set standards for the whole profession.
And these pictures, wow, they just bring that history to life, don't they? This wasn't just abstract stuff happening. It was driven by actual people. Right here, you can see the pioneers, the first 2 presidents of the World Confederation for Physical Therapy, and the delegates at that very first meeting back in 1951, literally laying the groundwork for the global profession we have today.
Okay, so let's jump back to today and see what all that history has built. We're talking about an incredible spectrum of care. We're about to see just how diverse this field is, helping everyone from a child taking their first steps to adults who are managing chronic conditions.
Let's start with kids. For children, physio can be absolutely critical. For a child with cerebral palsy, it's about improving muscle control. For a little one with developmental delays, it's about building the strength to hit those huge milestones, like sitting up or crawling. It helps kids with muscular dystrophies stay mobile and flexible. From something like tight neck muscles to recovering from a broken bone, it's all about giving kids the best possible start in life.
Now, how about this? Avoiding surgery altogether. This is a total game changer. A landmark study from 2009 in the New England Journal of Medicine, a big deal, found that for people with osteoarthritic knees, a good physio program was just as effective as surgery. Just let that sink in for a second. A structured exercise program could help you avoid going under the knife. That's huge.
And it gets even wilder. We're going deeper than just muscles and joints here. We're talking about retraining the brain. After something like a stroke, physio is absolutely fundamental. But it's not just about strengthening weak arms or legs. It's about actively rewiring the brain. It taps into the brain's incredible ability to change and adapt, what scientists call plasticity, to literally relearn how to move.
And what about chronic pain? Well, physio is a powerful weapon in that fight too. Take this one Danish study. Women with osteoporosis went through a 10-week physio program, and afterwards, they were using way less pain medication and just felt better overall. So instead of just popping pills to mask symptoms, it's about getting to the root cause of the pain.
All right, so we've seen what it can do. But how? How does all of this actually work? Let's pull back the curtain, because this isn't guesswork or magic. It's a field driven by our modern understanding of the human body, especially neuroscience.
The field has come a long way. The old school way of thinking was often more about the therapist using their hands to kind of guide the patient's movements. But the modern approach, based on what we now know about the brain, it completely flips that on its head.
Now it's all about active, repetitive training. The focus is on you, the patient, actively practicing a specific movement over and over and over again. Why? Simple. That's just how our brains are wired to learn. And that right there brings us to the superstar of this whole show, brain plasticity. It's this incredible fundamental ability of your brain to reorganize itself, to form new connections based on what you do and experience. So every time you practice a movement, you are literally strengthening the pathways for it in your brain. Modern physio sees recovery not just as muscles healing, but as a learning process that's happening right inside your head.
Which naturally leads us to the single most important person in this whole equation, and that's you. Success in physiotherapy isn't something that's just done to you, it's something you have to be an active part of.
At the end of the day, this is what it's all about. Empowerment. It's not just treatment, it's education. A really good physiotherapist doesn't just fix you, they teach you. They give you the knowledge to understand your own body and the tools to take control of your own recovery journey.
So what does that journey look like? Well, it usually breaks down into 3 key steps. First, there's a deep dive assessment, where the therapist looks at the whole picture. Then you have the hands-on sessions in the clinic. But step 3, that's the one that's arguably the most critical. It's the homework. The stretches and exercises you do at home. That is where the real, lasting change happens. Your commitment, that's the secret sauce.
So, to wrap all this up, let's just leave you with this thought. In a world full of complex surgeries and prescriptions, we've explored a field that's all about a fundamental, accessible, and incredibly powerful tool. So what if the key to better health, to avoiding surgery, to managing pain, isn't found in a bottle at all, but in our own ability